When they put me in the police car, I'm wondering what's taking so long. And another cop came and found some drugs on the scene, and they just automatically said it was mine because I ran. And at that moment, I started contemplating everything, my whole life, and I just felt like it was changed at that moment. I was in a little known area where we used to call the Flats. It was an area where everybody just kind of hung out. There was a lot of bars around. And that area, you know, it was a high drug area. It was a lot of cops there all the time.
Irma was spending time with friends in Midland, Texas, when she was approached by officers for no reason. She didn't know who the officers were or what they wanted, so she ran.
When I realized I was going to be arrested, I started crying. And he told me if I told him who they belonged to, that he would let me go.
This is a high crime area. Finding drugs on the ground, finding drug paraphernalia on the ground is not abnormal.
And I told him, you found them on the ground. I don't know who they belong to, but they're not mine. And then he says, well, you're going to jail. I went to trial, and I ended up taking it all the way. I said, if I accept the probation, I'm admitting guilt to this possession of a controlled substance. And I said no.
Ralph Petty was a prosecutor in Midland County, Texas for over 20 years. But it turns out that wasn't his only job.
I didn't get a fair trial because Ralph Petty was working with the judge and the prosecutor on my case.
Working as a law clerk for the same judges he was practicing before. A law clerk is like a judge's right-hand advisor. It's the person who does the judge's research for him or her. It's the person who advises the judge on how to rule on matters and cases. And in a lot of instances, it's the person who actually drafts the judge's orders and decisions.
The only thing I could think about was I'm not going to be able to be a nurse. That's all I thought about. Because that's all that I wanted to do. I was already working as a certified nurse's assistant in a nursing home. And at that point, I knew it was over. If that night would have never happened, I can tell you right now, I would already be a registered nurse, probably working on my nurse practitioner's license. Working in the field right now, I've worked with so many providers who have said that I'm smart enough to do just that. And I believe them because I'm really good at what I do. My kids were affected, the worry of me being taken away from them. They talked about that a lot, and we talked about it a lot. And I just assured them that that wasn't gonna happen. I would do my very best to try to stay with them.
So when we're talking about Ralph Petty working as a prosecutor and as a law clerk, we're talking about the prosecutor also working basically as a judge in his own cases. And over the course of 20 years, Petty did this in more than 300 cases.
And to take advantage of that by playing both sides, it was just not fair at all. It's not fair.
The current district attorney for Midland County has sent letters to the people who were impacted by Petty's misconduct and confessed that what happened here was improper. There was a violation.
I was angry about it for a long time. They just continue to live life while we're over here struggling, and this type of injustice should not be happening to anyone.
Because of a judge-made doctrine called prosecutorial immunity, it is very difficult to sue a prosecutor for violating the Constitution. That is until today. Irma and the Institute for Justice are fighting together to ensure that Irma has her day in court, so that she does get to go before a fair and impartial judge and prove that what happened here was a constitutional violation.
So when I learned that the Institute for Justice had got involved, initially I was scared, but I was excited because I felt like my prayers were answered. I want this to be something that I'm gonna put behind me. It's gonna be over, and then I'm gonna start working towards the things that I have been wanting to work towards since I was 9 years old.
Prosecutors are not above the law. Counties are not above the law. Judges are not above the law. And we are asking the court to declare that.
I am innocent, and I've spent 20 years of my life paying for a crime that I did not commit.